Hello and welcome to part 1 of section 5, Manipulating Data in an Eloquent Way. In this video, we will understand what is Eloquent, setting up the database configurations, and also writing migrations using the Eloquent ORM framework. Now let's see what is Eloquent ORM. It is nothing but an object relational mapping framework provided to easily work with databases, CRUD operations. It actually works with an active record implementation that works with database where for every model in your PHP application, there is going to be a corresponding database table, and the table and model interact with each other, providing all the CRUD operations. So now let's get started and update and create our configuration files, create a database, and create a model. So for database configuration, create a schema in your MySQL database, and then the .env file update with the information. Remember, these informations are with respective to my machine. So please make sure that if it is Windows, it's not 8889, it's 3306. Database name, whatever your database name you have, your username and your password. So I'm using the MAMP database for Mac machines. I'll go ahead and I'll say new. The database name is Laravel DB and I'll say create. Once a database is created, we'll go ahead and in our Visual Studio Code, in the env file, database MySQL, the database port is 8889, database name is Laravel DB, username in my case it's root, and password also is root. Once this is done, let's go ahead and create a model. So the post.php and the post controller created in the previous video, I have deleted those because now we will be using the eloquent way of creating models and controllers and routes. So in your terminal, go ahead and fire the command php artisan make model, name of the model followed by -m for creating migrations. If you see database migrations here, the moment I fire this command, the post.php is created and it also creates a migration table, that is create post table.php file. Now in this PHP file, we have this up function. Up function is responsible for creating the table. It already by default creates a column for ID and for the timestamps when created and when updated. You want to add more fields, you can do so. I'll say string and title. Same way, you also want to add for content. Now when you are working with strings, you have to go in the app providers, app service provider, and here I will be using Illuminate, support, facet, and schema, and in the boot function, I will be specifying the length for my string. So schema : default string length, and just specify some arbitrary length for your strings in your database tables. Once this is done, your model is created, and then if you see the post.php file, it extends model. So in the previous sections, we had created our class post and written manually all the CRUD operation methods to work with the data. The moment you say class post extends model, this model class basically takes responsibility of creating all the CRUD operations. So I can actually say post : and all, which gives me all the records. I can also say post : find, and it gives me a record for a specific ID. I also have delete methods, update methods, and so on. So the moment your class extends model, we are able to get all the CRUD operational methods from the model class. Now, to be able to create a database table, we will be using the artisan command php artisan migrate. The moment you do this, it creates the database tables for you. So you can see the tables are created successfully: users table, password research table, and the create post table. If you see the database here, Laravel DB, I'll refresh. You can see we have all our tables created: post, ID, title, content, created at and updated at for the timestamp. We would also want to create some setup data for our application. So for that, we will be using Tinker. So I'll just clear this and I'll say PHP artisan Tinker. When I use this, it opens up a shell for me. From here, I can actually fire all the commands. So suppose I say app slash post and I fire a command, a function called as count. You can see it returns me records 0. Now to be able to create records in the database, let's go ahead and I'll say $post is equals to post. Okay, then that's done. Then I can say $post title equals to, and suppose I say post 1. I can say $post. I want to add content for post 1. Done. And then I need to be able to save. So I'll say $post save. The moment I do this, you can go ahead and check in your database. You can see ID 1, post 1, content, created at, updated at. So I'll be just adding few more records in the database. Same. So I have just created 2 records in the database. That's it. So we created the database configurations. We created the model, the migration tables. We added few fields, and then we also opened the Tinker and populated data using the Tinker command.